Episode 2. The Path. Renato. So this is their outfits. Brave, unwavering, I like the black, or secretive. We'll just give him secretive. I'll give you some privacy. Lucian and Vesper left the dining room quietly, closing the door behind them. Renato got up, looking at the woman as if she were a judge about to pass a sentence. Nova took a step towards him, but stopped there, studying his features. A lot about him had unmistakably, irrevocably changed, leaving him sharpened and cut, a dark mark of sorrow so evident. He's lost weight, and his eyes, his hair. The changes were only external, but once all she felt next to Renato was his warmth. And now he was surrounded by the aura of a curse. Swallowing, Nova put her hand on her friend's shoulder. I'm very happy to see you, Renato. But I have so many questions. Of course. Let's sit. They settled in 2 chairs next to each other. How are you feel? She broke off, noticing him grimacing slyly and closing his eyes. Did he just hear a dead person's voice, or several of them? Just thinking about how loud it must be in his head sent a chill down her spine. Such is the fate of the Luminolite. Renato paid a high price to stay alive. Perhaps it was too high, but he made that choice. The memories of that night flooded her mind before she could stop them. Fragments of the prayers escaped his parched lips in a hoarse whisper. He was stumbling over verses he knew by heart, tossing, turning on the bed, trembling and clutching the crumpled sheet in his weak hands. The darkness surrounded them was ready to swallow him whole. Nova could feel it in the sticky, humid air saturated with disease. She could feel it. And there was nothing she could do. For a long time, Renato was the only one who knew about her secret, but more importantly, he became her friend. A friend who, just like her, forsook the mission, left the Catholic Church after realizing how distorted its teachings were. He sacrificed himself to protect her, and now she was watching him die. Forcing herself to turn away, she glanced at Werner, who was talking to Vesper and Shin. Sepsis. He stopped responding to the treatment, and the rhythm of his voice felt wrong. Too even, too consistent, too calm. Vesper said that he was a skilled healer. Over all of his years of practice, he'd helped countless people except all those who were others and had nothing to do with the church. When Renato developed an infection, the Catchers shared her concerns with Jorge. He confirmed that Werner's course of treatment was correct. Willow root mint served as a pain relievers, while other medicine ensured Renato would be back on his feet soon. Nova dismissed her own suspicions. Werner had no reason to harm Renato. It was Vesper who arranged for the priest to stay at his shelter, and getting on her bad side would be a stupid decision. What would he achieve? My conclusions were too hasty, and this is the outcome. I am such an arrogant fool. Fear and guilt pierced her heart, turning into anger so intense it burnt her insides, demanding to be let out. Clutching her fist, she took a step towards the herbalist. Restrain the anger. Noticing her approach, Werner slowly shifted his gaze to her. His face expressed nothing but exhaustion that had dulled into apathy. Signora? Nova opened her mouth to say something, but decided against it. I have no evidence that he's guilty of anything. Now isn't the time for this. We need to focus on finding a way to help him. Is there really nothing you can do? You said he'd get better, that you could help him. So why is he dying? I'm afraid I do not know. Werner, we've known each other for ages. I've never heard you say that. Vesper, you show up once a month, presence willing. Don't pretend you know everything that's going on here. He paused, and then said under his breath, Look at her, a revolutionary. Something like he seems like he doesn't actually respect Vesper that much. Defend Vesper, stay silent. I'm gonna go with defend her. She couldn't come more often, even if she wanted to. Vesper monitors the shelters in Rome as best as she can, while managing to. Vesper stopped her with a gentle nod. Thank you, Nova. It's all right. This isn't what we should be discussing right now. She turned to Renato, who had dozed off. His ragged breathing was cutting the air, and with each exhale, the lights of hope grew dimmer. Closing his eyes, Werner pressed his thumb and forefinger against his eyelids. I don't know what you expect of me. I have no idea why his body stopped responding to treatment. Perhaps it is because he's an ordinary. I'm familiar with traditional medicine, but I rely on herbalism in my practice. If he was some kind of resistance to our means, we cannot help him. I'm sorry. Without saying another word, he left the room. No. Nova returned to the bed. It's me, Renato Nova. No, Renato spoke to her. I'm scared. Me too, froze on her lips. There was such a helplessness in his gaze, such a need for support and reassurance, that Nova couldn't bring herself to say those words. Instead, she forced herself to smile, putting her hand on his shoulder. It's gonna be fine. We'll find a way to help you. I'm a time capture. I'll come up with something nice, I promise. Just hold on, okay? He swallowed, shivering, and kept on talking as if he hadn't heard her. I shouldn't be scared. I know that on the other side I'll be reunited with him. There is no greater joy for a Christian. But so little time has passed since I saw the truth. I began to understand, to really understand how one could serve him here on earth. Does Father really wish for me to leave this world? Does he want me to finish what I started? Maybe this is a test. Maybe he wants me to see how strong my will to live and to serve is. Or does he want me to show I can accept death with humility? Renato covered his face with his hands, muttering. Nova could hardly make out the words. Look at me, here on the verge of death, trying to understand his plan when I myself constantly told my parishioners the Lord works in mysterious ways. What a proud man one has to be to even hope to comprehend his wisdom. But that's it, Renato. You are a man. Men get scared. Men ask questions they'll never find answers to. Everything that's living clings to life. Don't judge yourself for that. She started stroking his head, slowly whispering, Lord, the Lord God, compassionate, gracious, slow to anger, abounding in loving kindness and truth, giving mercy and loving kindness for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin. As a child, she would recite this passage to herself before bed. It soothed her then, and she hoped it would soothe Renato now as well. She also hoped, probably in vain, that he wouldn't remember the end of the verse. But he will by no means leave the guilty unpunished. But Renato isn't guilty of anything. He didn't say anything else. Nova found a handkerchief on the bedside table and gently pressed it to his forehead. The next few minutes passed in silence. Nova told me about you, Vesper. Shin. The role. He coughed, but then continued. About the role you and your community played in her life and her decision to abandon the mission. Nova caught the solemn glances of her allies. Then she confided in Renato about having sided with others. He accepted it with an understanding smile, one that carries a hint of pride for her. I'm glad you're here. I don't want to be alone if... No, there must be a way. There is a way, but I don't know how you'll like it. When Vesper's eyes turned to Shin, Nova shuddered with realization. The Liminalites curse. A curse. Shin pursed his lips, folding his arms across his chest and leaning against the wall. There is a chance that it will save your life. If you survive the ritual, It will cost you. A lot. You'll hear the dead. Constantly. You might gain some other abilities. We know too little about this to be able to say for sure. Meaning, I'll become another. No, others are people with presence. This curse doesn't grant it, but it will make you sensitive to a specific kind of energy. One that can only be sensed by liminalite. It sounds much better than it actually is. We've done some research. A lot can go wrong, but even if the ritual is successful, the voices could drive you insane. They cannot be silenced. Every corner of the planet holds echoes of the dead, and you will be one of the few who can hear them. There's one thing you can know for sure. Your life will never be the same. It's already changed a lot. Nova couldn't keep up with her own thoughts. There it was, a way to save him, to help him escape death. A part of her rejoiced at this realization. The other part urged her to beg him to refuse. A viscous tension enveloped him. The silence took on a strange, bitter taste. What should I say? It's your choice. A storm raged inside her, but she suppressed it. She knew that the only opinion that truly mattered was his. After all, it was his life. No one else had the right to make the decision or choice for him. He smiled at her in gratitude. I need a minute. With a shaky sigh, he closed his eyes, folding his hands on his chest for prayer. His lips moved, uttering words only he could hear. Or perhaps only him and God. Vesper turned away, both respectfully and somewhat awkwardly, as if she was uncomfortable. Shen kept watching and seemed like he was about to roll his eyes, but in the end he only lowered his head. Soon, Renato tried to sit up in bed, but his body barely responded. Nova helped him. Looking around at all those present and stopping at Shen, he said confidently and calmly, I'm ready. All right. Vesper Nova, you can go. I'll be fine handling this on my own. The catcher's mouth was dry, her fingers involuntarily squeezing the bedsheet. Already draining my diamonds, I see. Vesper was already at the door, but Nova wasn't moving. She felt that if she left this room now, she'd go crazy waiting to hear how everything went. Even a brief moment in ignorance felt like real torment. I want to stay if that's possible. It won't affect the ritual. Stay. It will help me. I'll go. Good luck. She left. The catcher shivered, hearing the soft click of the door. It marked the finality of this decision, cutting off any escape and making the future inevitable. Renato will be cursed. Renato will live, however. She looked into his exhausted face, listening to the heavy, uneven beating of his heart. Or was it her own? Nova, I will need you to step away to the wall. Biting her cheek from the inside, she followed the instructions. Is there anything I can do to help? No. Shen took a small book out of his pocket. The pages barely held on the spine, and the text on the cover had worn off, making the title unreadable. Opening it, the warlock skimmed the lines and set the book aside on the nightstand and extended his hand to Renato. Your cross. Is this necessary? I never take it off. Shen couldn't help but snort. You have to fuel my presence with your energy in order to cast the curse. Something telling me there's no other object in this room that's worth you all the time. Except for that cross. Renato squeezed his eyes shut, likely fighting a twinge of pain. Without answering, he slowly took the chain off his neck and handed it to Shen. Before he could pull his hand away, the warlock seized his wrist, then made a small incision on his palm. Nova didn't even notice when he drew the blade. Ow! I'll need some blood, too. Safer that way. Squeeze the cross. You could have warned me. Ignoring the remark, Shen started drawing signs and runes on the floor, checking the book from time to time. When everything was ready, he took the bloody cross from Renato, who was trying his best to remain conscious. Hey, stay with me. Shin tapped Renato's cheeks a couple times to bring him to his senses. Come on for the holy amends, or whatever it is you say. I'm going to start, it will hurt, so get ready. Nova clung to her clothes so tightly that her nails were almost tearing the fabric. Renato nodded weakly, placing the cross in the center of the circles on the floor. Shin stood nearby. He took a couple of deep breaths, clenching and unclenching his fists. Nova could feel the energy of his presence thicken, filling the room. If she didn't know Shin, she might have thought, judging by the tension in his shoulders, that he was nervous. Explimia, quor mo rapida. Loric, Terro, Windle, Orna. The twisting streaks of magic crackled on his fingertips. They crept forward slowly, slinking like predators. The darkness around them shivered, and the smell of metal saturated the air. Nova held her breath, waiting for them to reach their target. Instead, they twitched menacingly, hissing as if awaiting their master's command, and pulled Renato's body into their clutches, marking him, making him hover in the air. Pain. Pain in every grasp, every unnecessary attempt to move. Whenever Renato had felt before, it paled in comparison to the torment the magic was inflicting on him now. Its dark ripples sought out the remnants of life within him, then mercilessly gnawed away at them, sinking in deeper and deeper. Shin's voice, brimming with power, tore through the air. Each word was both a whisper and a thunderclap. Seized by his might, everything around them froze in anticipation of his command. In this moment, his presence was a deadly weapon. I like the artwork. Oh, okay. There's more of it. I'm impressed. The more Renato's essence, curse consumed, the hungrier it became. The words no longer belonged to the warlock, but to the energy he'd summoned. Suffocating, ruthless, it grew, and now there was no stopping it. Nova. Yeah, sorry. I got lost in thought. That's okay. That smile. That same gentle, knowing why smile, his smile. You said I could ask questions? Where have you been all this time? To be honest, I'm not even sure. A lot of places. Left Rome, hoping to find somewhere quiet, wandered to some villages. He chuckled at his own words. Vesper was right, there is no hiding from them. I guess we could ask all of them, okay. Why did you leave so suddenly? You didn't even give me a chance to say goodbye, to check on you after the ritual. You just disappeared. I left a message. I remember. I need to figure out everything. I'll be back. I appreciate you letting me know, but I couldn't have done anything differently, Nova. I needed to get away as far as possible from the city. To a place that seemed to your death? Yes. I didn't want to disappear like that, but I no longer knew who I was. It wasn't just the ceaseless voices that tormented me. It was the doubts that whether I'd make the right choice. There was so much happening in my head. I just couldn't take it. All I wanted was to be alone. I hope you can understand. Of course. I can't even begin to imagine what it was like to go through that. I respect your need for solitude. You're back now. That's what matters. Thank you. Have your wounds completely healed? He put his hand to his stomach. Yes, I have a scar, but it doesn't hurt. Are you back for good? I'm definitely not going to disappear like that again. Tell me about the curse. How does it affect you? How are you feeling? The first few weeks were the most challenging. I was certain I'd lose my mind, as is known to happen. The voices came flooding in, as soon as I woke up, dozens, maybe even hundreds, all at once. I couldn't even make out what they were saying, couldn't separate one from another. I couldn't sleep for days. Eating was a struggle. I couldn't pray, couldn't think. I found an abandoned house in some forest, but they wouldn't relent, not even there. Despair consumed me. But then I heard Elio. Warning, the following scene contains... Oh. Elio? He'd only say one word at first. Mama. Again. And again. I knew right away it was a child. I didn't know if there was anything I could do to help him, but that was the first time I decided to listen instead of trying to silence the voice. Over time, I began to hear more and more. I eventually realized there was something connecting him to the forest where I was staying. I wanted to figure out what exactly. He kept mentioning some old oak tree, but there were a lot of them around, so it took me a while to find the one. Renato rubbed his wrist and swallowed. A few days later, I found his body. He was 5. I learned more about him from his mother, Gina, when I found her. She lives in a village nearby. It'd been a month since her son went missing. She was still hoping for his return, holding on to that fact that his body hadn't been found. Locals weren't too pleased with me. At first they thought it was me who hurt the boy. They couldn't come up with a different explanation about how I'd have known exactly where he died. Later, when they conducted the investigation, it became clear that the cause of death was hypothermia. He got lost in the woods, and this winter had been harsher than usual. He sighed heavily. Anyway, it took me a while to notice, but after I brought Gina, the search party to Elio, he became quiet. You stopped hearing his voice? Yes, and that's when it all fell into place. I can help the dead find peace, Nova. That is my purpose. I can't talk to them, but I don't even need to. Just listening is enough. Not dismissing them, but not avoiding, but accepting. Elio taught me that. Now I can see it. My curse is not a curse at all. It is a way to help those no one else can help. To hear those no one else can hear. But I believe Elio found his way to our Heavenly Father when he felt his mother would no longer suffer in uncertainty. And if I can do the same for other restless souls, I would feel very fulfilled. Nova was closely watching his expression. When he finished, she hesitated, choosing her words carefully. That sounds great, but you still haven't answered my question. How are you feeling? He laughed softly, looking into her eyes. I struggle with sleep. I'm still only getting used to this new reality. I suffer from migraines. This new mission inspires me, but I miss silence. You and me both. And it pains me to think I will never again be able to truly be alone with myself or with God. Unless I somehow get on the top of the mountain no human has ever set foot on before, if one even exists. And yet, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't change anything. Everything happened the way it should have. I don't have any regrets. I'm happy for you. Tell me, how did you get... He suddenly stopped her mid-sentence, frowning as if in pain. Is something wrong? He only touched his lips to his index finger. Shh, I need a minute. With a soft groan, he pressed his fingers hard against his temples. Just moments ago everything had seemed fine, but now his face reflected pure agony. Someone knocked on the door. Renato covered his ears with his hands. Sorry to interrupt, but... Quiet, leave! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Nova could hardly recognize his voice. It was harsh, like a slap in the face. Hurrying to Vesper, she pushed her into the hall, stepped out herself, and closed the dining room door. Everyone else waited outside. Shan, Lucy, and Onyx Nova gestured towards the living room, and they went there. Maybe it might be because she's attached to spirits. She's had to disperse. What happened? I could feel that you were very... Don't worry. Everything is fine. I think Renata needs complete silence. No wonder. It will get so loud in his head at times that he won't be able to stand even the slightest external sound. Shin fell into an armchair, propping his feet up on the coffee table. Lucian shot him a murderous glance, but the warlock didn't move a muscle. The owner of the house walked over and forced him to remove his feet, kicking him in the knees. There are limits to my patience. Vesper snapped her fingers, drawing out tension to herself. Why do I so often feel like I'm a caretaker at an orphanage? More like a mother hen with micromanaging tendencies. Look at the vocabulary, micromanaging. Yes, well, I wouldn't have to do that if you... Nova hugged herself, fighting the urge to curl up in a corner. The argument turned into background noise, words tangling together, indistinguishable. She'd never seen Renato so angry before. He's struggling so much, and I can't help him. No one can. He says he has no regrets now, but who knows what the future holds. A gentle touch on her hand brought her back to reality. Turning, she saw Onyx standing next to her. Are you okay? The catcher managed a weak smile. I'm fine. I just didn't expect to see Renato tonight. It was his decision, but I'm still worried. The curse torments him. You underestimate him. He broke free from the church's influence. Naturally, we all know its teachings about others were ridiculous from the start, but I've never heard of anyone from the clergy going through an awakening like that and renouncing their priesthood. That's something only a strong-willed person could do. Here's hoping he's not lying to us. Do you think he could still be a spy? The church is capable of anything. You'd know that better than anyone else, Nova. We already have been burned once. Wow, way to let the past go. She folded her arms across her chest and looked away. The pain of betrayal, though dulled, still occasionally reminded her of his presence. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. As for Renato, before we can accept him into our ranks, we should... I wasn't going to join your ranks. Everyone turned their eyes to Renato, who was standing in the doorway. I'm sorry about what happened in the dining room. Some voices get particularly insistent from time to time, and I haven't fully figured out how to deal with them yet. I hope I didn't scare you too much, Nova. Don't worry, it's not that important. It's not that important. Vesper looked at Renato intently. I was under the impression that you were on our side now. Was I mistaken? I believe the others deserve equality and justice, but I don't wish to join the Fire Alliance? Incineration. Right, the Incineration Alliance. He's full of surprises, this one. Do you mind sharing the reason? Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for everything that you've done for me, and I believe your goals are noble. But from now on, I won't serve anyone but God. For a long time, I followed others as a priest of the church. I forbade myself to question them, justifying my actions with the excuse that I was doing what was necessary. I don't want to find myself in a similar situation again, blindly following someone else's commands. I have my own path. Vesper's face hardened as she spoke, a familiar, steely note in her voice. Only we are not the Vatican. We have the truth on our side. Renato sighed softly, calmly. Tell me, Vesper, if your original plan with the source doesn't work out, what will you do then? It would be extremely stupid for me to reveal that to you. So, let me rephrase that. Can you promise you won't start a war? A long, heavy pause. The lack of an answer became an answer in and of itself. Well, do you think we should just leave everything as is? You have no idea what it's like. That's true, I don't. Perhaps I'll find out soon. I'm certain many will see me as an other because of my supernatural abilities, even though I don't have a mark or presence. But in my eyes, nothing can justify such cruelty as war.
Not like we want it to happen either, but we might not have a choice.
I understand, and I won't condemn you for your decision, but I refuse to play a role in this. I can understand his stance. I can. Looking back at Vesper, Renato said it again, firmly and confidently. I refuse. I didn't expect that. He doesn't want to be part of this. I don't share this mindset, so I'm assuming his mindset. Sometimes I want to forget everything and run away too. As a person who has been through a lot, I'm pretty sure I can say this on behalf of everyone who has ever went through a lot. Sometimes you do wish you could forget everything and run away. To be free, to be peaceful, to stop fighting. So, I'm gonna pick that. I didn't ask to be involved in this fight. But I can't stand and just abandon our goals. That would be a tantamount to another betrayal. Well, in that case, good luck on your path, Renato. Thank you. To you as well. I wanted to ask you to let me stay in the house while you're here. Any time to figure out what to do next, and I would appreciate a roof over my head. Or anyone could say anything, Lucian nodded. You can stay. The house is big. That's enough space for everyone. Nova half expected Vesper to object, but she only shrugged casually. It's not her house. It's getting late. We'll meet tomorrow morning in the dining room and discuss further actions. Nova, come with me. I have to give you something. The woman left the living room, making her way along the hall. Talus and I will come see you in the morning, okay? That would be lovely. Good night, Onyx. The Anamorphous give her a quick, warm hug goodbye. Then, when they pulled away from each other, Onyx twitched an eyebrow looking in Shin's direction. Jealous?
Not of the catcher, that's for sure. Nova, blink if you need help saving yourself from this.
My God, Shin told a joke. Before they could get into yet another argument, Nova interrupted the warlock. This amazing partner, thank you, Shin. I entered this relationship because I wanted to, and I'm very happy.
We need to keep an eye on her, guys. What if she's having a lapse in judgment?
2 jokes.
Ah, my coat.
Lucian and Nova and Renato watched them storm out of the room. Does this happen often? All the time. Get used to it. Alright, I should go. See you all tomorrow. Nova hurried after Vesper before she discovered behind one of the corners. Or disappeared, excuse me. Closing the door behind them, Vesper walked over to a desk full of books and notes. Must be here somewhere. Yes, here it is. She tore out several pages from the diary she was holding and handed them to the other woman. Okay, you could have just gave me the thing, I could have read it, but okay, just rip the pages. After quickly running her eyes over the handwritten lines, Nova looked at Vesper with complete bewilderment. What's this? It says right there a spell for projection of memories, so that we can take a look at what you found. Oh, I see. Sorry, I couldn't make out the words. My handwriting is not that bad. I feel like you have to try really hard to write so incomprehensibly. But don't worry, I've expanded my knowledge on ciphers during our search, so I'll figure out your squiggles. Give me 5 to 7 working days. Nobody's perfect. I have a lot of other talents. She gestured to the chair. "I can read everything to you so that you can write or rewrite it yourself, if that'd be more convenient." Nodding, Nova sat down at the desk. Vesper handed her a pen and paper, taking her notes back. "See, this is why you shouldn't have torn the pages out. So, you start with the source. It's best to choose wind. But if the weather doesn't permit..." "That's it?" "Yes." "Alright, looks a bit complicated, to be honest." "I'm sure you'll figure it out." Vesper sank into the armchair, rubbing her eyes. Nova tilted her head to the side, studying her. "That's how I feel right now." "Are you upset that Renato didn't join us?" "Upset, no. Disappointed, maybe, but I don't have time to dwell on it. Besides, I suspect that even if he wanted to join the Alliance, there would be a lot of things that he and I would disagree on. I'd be the Rydian situation all over again. So this is probably for the best." I've only talked to the Rydian once, but even so, I feel like Renato would indeed be more likely to agree with him rather than Vesper. By the way, about your request to find out if Renato's condition could have worsened due to improper treatment. I tried, but I've got nothing. Werner isn't particularly eager to cooperate with me right now. I didn't expect it to work, but to be honest, but thank you. I guess that's what matters, is that he's okay now. Relatively. How are you? Same old. No rest for the wicked. Her gaze wandered around the room, eventually stopping on the chessboard. Her lips twitched into a smirk. Fancy a game? A chess game against you. Why not? Big words. Didn't you hear that I'm actually very... I did, but... Don't forget how I grew up. I wasn't allowed out of the house, didn't have any children's games, so I spent a lot of time on the chessboard, so I wouldn't go completely crazy. That sounds very sad, to be honest. Nova shrugged off this comment, feeling excitement build up and overpower her tiredness. She flexed her arms and neck and bounced on the spot as if preparing for a fight, then sat down in the other armchair. Oh, now I'm scared. Black or white? I usually play white, but I'll let you start. Deal. They shook hands, trying to look serious as if they'd come to a real tournament, but couldn't stop their smiles from peeking through. I need to choose a aggressive approach, cautious, daring. I'm gonna go with... cautious, because we don't know how her playstyle is. Deciding not to rush and instead calculate every move, Nova tried to take control of the center, while Vesper took a similarly methodical approach. Build a pawn chain. Attack. As a result of the successful attack, Vesper lost a piece. They were approaching the endgame with Nova retaining a material advantage until finally... Told you. Checkmate. Well, shit. Well's fair. Too good of a feat not to brag about it. They shook hands again. You're a worthy opponent. I demand a rematch. I'll think about it. Leaning back in her chair, Vesper smiled, closed her eyes. She seemed relaxed, at peace, despite the defeat. It's been a long time since I... Hold on. She stood up, walked to the window and opened it. A bird immediately flew in, gripping the back of the chair with its sharp claws and fixing its penetrating gaze on the catcher. Ah, hello, owl. This is Sapo, my familiar. By the time you guys meet each other. I suppose he already knows me. Nova reached out her hand and Seppo moved away, avoiding contact as feathers of his had lifted slightly. Yes, but he's not used to you being so close. Give him some time. Vesper stroked his beak, her touch clearly pleasing him. What was I saying? Oh, right. It's been a long time since I played with another person, so thank you. It was nice. Moments like this help break up the endless chaos of my days. They make me feel alive. Thank you too, Vesper. You must be exhausted after such a long day, and I'm keeping you from going to bed. So, go get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night to you both. Nova went to her bedroom. The next evening. Nova managed to create a projection of her memories, and now that they had a lead, Vesper and Lucian were going through the contacts in France to find someone who could help. No one in the Incineration Alliance had no knowledge of astrology, so they were hoping to find a witch or a warlock who specialized in that field. As they were searching, Nova rested. She'd been ordered to take a short break from work, and she didn't argue the respite was more than necessary. She didn't notice dozing off on the sofa in the living room. Perhaps the novel she found on the shelf was too boring, or her sleep debt was far too great. Yeah, mine's a few years. Good luck making up that tally. It was a movement around her head that woke her. Opening her eyes, Nova saw Onyx sprawled on top of her. He's a kitty. Reaching up, the catcher felt the soft feathers under her fingers. Apparently, Talus decided her head was a nice nest and a place to sleep as well. When someone knocked on the door, Nova hurriedly sat up and rubbed her eyes, thus disturbing her partners. Am I intruding? That's a yes. You're fine. What do you have there, Lucian? She nodded at the garment bags in his arms. These are for you, Nova. Vesper and I have found a witch who can help. We're going to her place. Get dressed. Talus, Onyx, you may also join if you want. We're all gathering here in 20 minutes. Leaving the clothing on the chair, Lucian exited the room. Onyx and Talus returned to their human forms. I've ruffled your hair, Nova. Sorry. Not a big deal. I'll brush it. We don't have much time. Go get ready. Talus kissed her on the forehead and Onyx on the cheek. Then they went to their rooms. Nova got up and stretching, walking over to take a look at their clothes. Wow, these outfits are all very different. She decided to freshen up in one of the bathrooms. Alright, so we have Aurora, Cordelia, Amabel, Morgana, Roxanne. It's quite a nice outfit, I'm not gonna lie. Curse you to... Oh, also, hold on. Are the nails different? Yes! So the nails with the Roxanne are super sharp. They're very beautiful. Yeah, no, I'm picking this outfit. Apologies. Looks like the app stopped responding and then crashed. Okay, let's try this again. I chose the outfit, so all good. It was a super expensive hair, outfit. Hair? Well, hair free. Oh, no, never mind. Nah. I like the current hairstyle. It really goes with the outfit. Yep. We need more money. Quick, 44 diamonds for makeup. No, I'm good. Back in the living room, Nova settled down on the couch to wait for the others. I wonder what kind of meeting this will be. I'll give you 5. I give you 5. So, we gained 0 sun, 2 moon, 2 status, 0 power. Oh look, diamonds, hold on. Alright, got our diamonds. Let's go! So, hopefully you did enjoy the video. Please remember that if you do, like, share, and subscribe. So you can see even here, right now, the app is just not responding very well. I understand that the update, just happened like a day ago, but servers just aren't going too well. Like I said, it's already crashed several times, a couple times when I was trying to do the diamond choices and whatnot. It's just not loading. Let me know if you guys are experiencing the same issues. I know, what was it, the last update? Not this update? Their servers and everything down, and we're down for like several days. So, yeah, there you go. It's ever slowly working, even though it's stuck on the loading page again. It's wild because every time I sit down to do Romance Club and to catch up or cover the new chapters or episodes or whatever you want to call it when they first come out, I always have some issue. Now here I am, sitting down to do this stuff, and we're stuck on this. So, it's cute. I was just going to show you guys, what all new things, and there's another, I know there's another chapter for this that came out, and then it's on hiatus for the next month or so, until the next update. There we go, finally! Alright, so, like I said, the servers just are not cooperating tonight, and I have really good internet, so, I don't know. Again, I stream all the time. So with that being said, again, love send, just no updates. We're still slowly catching up on Callie. I know some of you on Arcanum. Solus, that's a subject in and of itself, I'm going to be honest with you. Astria, Haze, Seven Brothers, Thunderstorm, Unparalleled, and then there is a new one, which is The Missing, which will look very interesting. So I plan on delving into that. And I know Shakespeare's Code was another new one that came out, I believe, the last update. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so again, first and foremost, I see the little spin thing here. It's an interesting feature. A lot of people go, what's the purpose of literally half these icons? I'm going to be honest with you. And oh look, the server's not really responding for this one either. So that tells me that every choice, every diamond, everything that I go through tonight is going to be super slow and whatnot to go through. So while that's busy spinning, I'm getting to this stuff. Again, the update just happened. Here I am jumping on RC as quick as possible. Oh, we got a teacup. Let me just go BFD. Like, a lot of people I see asking on the various things are like, what is this for? Right? I have no clue. I'm going to be honest with you. I think for right now, the use has not been, admitted into the app just yet. Again, I've played other games and apps just like that, so that's how it plays out. So, again, like, some of these are just unknown. Hey, at least we know what diamonds and cups are, which out of all the spins that I've ever gotten, I've got, like, when you do the diamond one, right, I'll get, like, 1 diamond. The cup is the first time I've ever landed on it. Typically, these 3 symbols, the ones right there, will get the heart, teardrop, and the moon, I guess, I don't know. Those I get all the time, but the other ones, no, I don't really get those. But aside from that, if you guys did enjoy, please, I cannot stress this enough, to support the content, right? Get it out there, let people know I'm doing it, etc. Like I said, it's the reason why it motivates me as well as encourages me and says, hey, there is a target audience that does want me to cover this stuff, and makes me want to jump on it more often and cover it, because it's this community, this channel isn't about me. A lot of content creators make it about themselves. It is literally and figuratively about what you want as a viewer. Right? I can't cover each and every single one of you, but when there's more than one voice and a bunch of you are resonating and you're like, we want RC, then I focus more on it. Versus if just one person's like, hey, I want some Hello Kitty on, listen, I can't, like, that's great, one of you is interested in that, but the rest of everyone is like, no. So yeah, just keep that in mind. For the longest time I've covered, we did chapters, and then we did a little bit of episodes and some other stories and apps that have come and gone. Unfortunately, they've shut down, but for the longest time we did choices. So that's why I pretty much stick with them every time they come out. But again, I'm jumping on this because here the app just had an update, so I'm jumping on it and trying to get into it as quickly as possible. So do keep that in mind. Again, your support is appreciated. Thanks again for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.